Good morning, students. In the last lecture of the object-oriented programming, we were seeing the concept of abstract class present in the C++. Now, in this lecture, we will see the constructor in a derived class. As we know that, what is a constructor? Constructor is a one special member function whose task is to initialize object of that particular class. And why the constructor is the special member function? Because it has the same name as the class name. Now, here we will see how the constructor is used or how the constructor is invoked in the derived classes. Whenever we create an object of a class, then default constructor of that class is invoked automatically to initialize the members of a class. That means whenever we create the object of any class in a main function, then at that time the default constructor is automatically called for initializing the members of that particular class, initializing the parameter of that particular class. If we inherit a class from another class and create an object of a derived class, then it is clear that the default constructor of the derived class will be invoked, but before that the default constructor of all the base classes will be invoked. That is, the order of invocation is that the base class default constructor will be invoked first and then the derived class default constructor will be invoked. Suppose we inherit one of the class. Suppose inheritance is applied in any program, then it is clear that the default constructor that is in the derived class will be invoked, but before that the constructor of the base classes will be invoked. So the order of invocation is the base class constructor, base class default constructor will be invoked first and then the derived class default constructor will be invoked. This is an constructor in a derived classes. How we can use the constructor in a derived classes? In short, if we inherit one class from other class, then at that time the derived class constructor will be called or will be invoked, but before that the default constructor of the base class is invoked first. That means the order of invocation of constructor is base class constructor is invoked first and then derived class constructor will call. This is an constructor in a derived classes. First we will see why the base class constructor is called on creating object of a derived class. To understand this, you will have to recall your knowledge on a inheritance. You know the concept of inheritance. Inheritance is an process of deriving one class from another class. At that time, the old class we called as a parent class or a super class, and the derived class we called as a child class or a subclass. This is an inheritance. There are different types of inheritance are there, like single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hybrid inheritance and hierarchical inheritance. This is an basic of an inheritance concept. Suppose there is one question. What happens when a class is inherited from other? That means when we inherit a class from another class, then at that time what actually happens? The data members and member functions of a base class comes automatically in a derived class based on the access specifier, but the definition of these member exists in base class only. That means when we inherit one class to another class, at that time the data members or the member functions present in the base class comes automatically into the derived class depending upon the access specifier. There are three access specifiers used in C++, that are private, public and protected. So when we inherit one class from another class, then at that time depending on the access specifier or the visibility mode, the data members and the member functions of the base class will come automatically into the derived classes. So when we create an object of a derived class, then all of the members of the derived class must be initialized, but the inherited members in a derived class can only be initialized by the base class constructor, as the definition of these members exists in base class only. We know that in inheritance we were creating the object of derived class. We are not creating the object of a base class. We are creating the object of a derived class in a main function. At that time, all the members of the derived class are initialized to that object. But at that time, the initialized members in a derived class inherited members in a derived class can only be initialized by the base class constructor only at the definition of that particular class or parent class. This is why the constructor of a base class is called first to initialize all the inherited members. So, the base class constructor is called first for initializing the inherited member, all the inherited members. This is the reason that the base class constructor is called on creating the object of a derived class. There are two major questions that arise relative to constructors when inheritance is invoked. There are two major questions that arises while the constructor in a inheritance is invoked. First question is that when are base class and derived class constructor and destructor functions are called? When the actually base class and derived class constructor and destructors will call. And second one question is that how can parameters be passed to the base class constructor function? And second question is that how the actual parameters are passed to the base class constructor function. How that parameters are passed. Let's see. As long as no base class constructor take any argument, then the derived class need not have a constructor function. If a base class constructor does not take any argument, does not have any parameter, then the derived class need not have a constructor function. If a base class contains a constructor with a one or more argument, then it is mandatory for a derived class to have a constructor to pass arguments to the base class constructor. Suppose the base class constructor have a one or more arguments, then at that time it is compulsory, it is mandatory for a derived class to have a constructor that passes the arguments to the base class constructor. Next, when a class is declared, then a constructor is also declared inside the class in order to initialize the data members. Whenever a class is created in a program, whenever a class is declared into a program, then a constructor is also declared within that class for initializing the data members of that particular class. It is not possible to use a single constructor for more classes. We know that it is not possible to use of one constructor for more classes. Every class has its own constructor with a similar name as the class. Every class in a C++ having its own constructor with same name as their class name. When a class is derived from another class, then it is possible to define a constructor in a derived class. Suppose there is one condition when one class is derived from another class, then at that time it is possible to define a constructor in a derived class and data members of the both base and derived class can be initialized into that constructor. It is not essential to declare a constructor in a base class. Thus, the constructor of a derived class works for its base class. Such a constructors are called constructors in a derived class or common constructor. This is the concept of constructors in a derived class. In this point, we were seeing that if a base class constructor does not have any argument, then the derived class need not have a constructor function. But if a base class constructor is a parameterized constructor, that means if a base class contains a constructor with one or more argument, then it is mandatory for a derived class to have constructor pass the arguments to the base class constructor that passes the arguments for the base class constructor. And when a class is derived from another class, means inheritance is whenever inheritance concept is used, then at that time it is possible to define a constructor in a derived class and the data members of both base and derived classes can be initialized to that constructor. But in this, the constructor of the derived class, whenever the constructor of a derived class will be invoked first, but before that the default constructor or the constructor of all the base classes will be invoked. That means the order of invocation is that the base classes constructor will be invoked first and then the derived classes constructor will be invoked. whenever we use the constructor, whenever we use the constructors in a derived classes, in that situation we will see 2 points, that are, first we will see the order of calling constructor, and second the passing parameters to the base class constructor. While we are using a constructor in derived classes, at that time we want to remember the 2 points. First, the order of calling constructor, and second one is the passing parameter to the base class constructor. First we will see the order of calling constructor. When both the derived class and the base classes contain a constructors, then the base class constructor is executed first, and then the constructor in the derived class is executed. That means when both derived class and the base class having a constructor, then at that time the base class constructor is invoked first, base class constructor is executed first, and then the constructor in a derived class will be executed. This is the order of executing the constructors in a base and derived classes. In a case of multiple and multi-level inheritance, base classes are constructed in the order in which they appear in the declaration of the derived classes. But in the case of multiple and multi-level inheritance, in an order in which the base classes are constructed or the base classes are declared, at that order the constructors of that particular class will be invoked or will be executed. This is the order of calling constructor. That means when in a derived classes or in a inheritance concept we are calling a constructor, then at that time the base class constructor will be executed first, and then the constructor of a derived class will be executed. Let's see the one example. This program shows the order of constructor call in a single inheritance. In this program demonstrates the concept of single inheritance in which the constructor is called in a derived class. Here is an one base class is as parent. Here is an one base class is parent. In that parent class there is an one constructor, parent constructor. In that constructor we are simply displaying a message inside a base class. This is an base class definition. Then this is an single inheritance. Here is an one subclass, because in a single inheritance there is an only one base class and one derived class. There is an only one parent class or one base class and one subclass. So here is an one subclass. That subclass name is as child, which inherits the parent class. How to derive a subclass? Class keyword, after that subclass name or derived class name, then colon operator, then visibility mode or the access specifier, and then the parent class or superclass name. Then in that subclass there is an one constructor child. In that we are simply displaying a message inside a subclass. This is the class definition for the derived class. This is the class definition for the subclass. Now in the main function, whenever we are creating the object of a subclass, we know that in a main function, in a inheritance program, we are creating a object of subclass or we are creating a object of derived class in a main function. So here we are creating the object of a child class. Here obj is an object of a child class. So whenever the object is created, at that time the constructors defined in the base class and child class will be called automatically. So whenever we are creating an object of a child class, then the constructor of a base class, that is a parent class, will be called first. Then the constructor defined in the child class will be called. So whenever you are executing this program, you will get the output as first it will display the message as inside the base class, and then it will display the message as inside the subclass. First, the constructor of a base class is called first. In the constructor of a base class, we are simply displaying a message inside a base class. So it will display a inside a base class. And second one is the second child constructor will call. In the child constructor, we are displaying a message as inside a subclass. So it will display a message as inside a subclass. This is the order of calling the constructor in a inheritance concept. This is the constructors used in derived class. Second point, we want to remember that passing parameter to the base class constructor. In a case, suppose, where a derived class constructor requires one or more parameters, then we simply use a standard parameterized syntax. However, how do we pass the arguments to a constructor in a base class? There is one question. Whenever the derived class constructors require one or more parameter, at that time we simply used a parameterized constructor. But there is one question arises that how do we pass arguments to a constructor in a base class? How do we can pass the arguments to the base class constructor? The constructor of the derived class receives the entire list of arguments with their values and passes them to the base class constructor. At that time, the answer of that question is that whenever the constructor of a derived class receives the entire list of arguments with their actual values, then that passes to the base class constructor. There is one syntax of derived class constructor for the parameters is shown here. Here is an derived constructor. There are number of arguments. In that, first values are for the base class data members, and last arguments or the last values for the derived class data members. Let's see the example. Here is a program that demonstrates the constructors with a parameter used in a derived classes. In this example, there are two base classes alpha and beta and one derived class that is a gamma class. So this type of inheritance is what? Multiple inheritance. Here multiple inheritance is shown where alpha and beta are the two base classes and one derived class that is a gamma that derives the two classes beta and alpha. In a alpha class, see the base class alpha. In a alpha class, there is one data member that is integer x. X is one data member of a alpha class. Then in a public mode, there is one constructor is called. Here is an constructor is created. Constructor having a same name as the class name. So here is an alpha is an constructor which having a one parameter. Here formal parameter is passed to that constructor for assigning the value to the actual data member for actual parameter. Then that then the message is displayed alpha initialize. And there is one function, member function in that alpha class, that is show x. This function displays the value for the x parameter. This is the class definition for the alpha class. Next, there is another base class, that is beta class. In that beta class, there is one data member, that is y, and there is one constructor beta which having a one argument. That formal argument is used here. Formal parameter is passed to that constructor beta. Why the formal parameter is passed to the constructor? For assigning the value to the actual parameter. Then the message is displayed beta initialized. Then in the beta class, there is one member function show y. This function displays the value for the data member y. Then next, there is one derived class, that is gamma, which inherits the two classes beta and alpha. Here second class is inherited first, then first class alpha. In a gamma class, there is two data members as n and m. N and m are the two data members of the class gamma. Then there is one constructor gamma. For that constructor, there are 4 arguments, a, b, c and d. Then the scope resolution operator is used to access the parameters or the values, constructor values for the base classes. By using the scope resolution operator, we are calling a constructor of a class alpha and beta. Here is an a parameter value for the alpha class and second parameter value b is for beta class. And in a gamma constructor, we are assigning a values, formal values c and d to the actual values of a gamma class, that is n and m. Then the message is displayed gamma initialized. And there is one member function present in the gamma class, show mn. This show mn function is used to display the value of m and n. This is the class definition for the gamma. Here is an multiple inheritance, in that there are 2 base classes alpha and beta, and there is one derived class gamma. Now in the main function, we are creating the object of a derived class, that is a subclass. So here we are creating the object of a gamma class, gamma g, and here we are passing 4 arguments. For displaying a value one by one to the next line, here we are using a /n. Then next, by using the object, we are calling the methods or the member functions written in the classes. G.show means this calls the member function defined in a alpha class. G.show, this will call the member function written in a beta class, and G.showMn, this calling the member function written in a gamma class. So while executing a program, first it will display a beta initialize. Why? Because we call a beta class. So here first message is displayed. First it will call a constructor of a beta class. So it will display a message as beta initialize. Then next, alpha initialize. Here next we inherit the class as alpha. There are 2 base classes are present, but in that base classes, first we are invoking the beta class. So it will display first beta initialize. Whenever we creating the object of a derived class, at that time the constructor will automatically call. But what constructor it call first? The first base class constructor will call. Here is an preference for the beta class. So it will display beta initialized. Next derived class is as next base class is that alpha class. So it calls the constructor defined in the alpha class. So it will display the message alpha initialized. Next is it calls the derived class constructor. We know the order of innovation of constructor. That means the base class constructor will be executed first, then the constructor in a derived class will executed. So in this program, the constructors of a beta and alpha, that means the constructor of a base class is executed first, then the constructor of a derived class is executed. So here message is displayed gamma initialized, and values for the respective variables which are assigned to the derived class constructor is assigned to the base class data members. So here x gets the value 5, y gets the value 7.65, m gets the value 30, and n gets the value 100. This is the program for constructor used in a derived classes. You remember that whenever you are using a constructor in a derived class, then at that time the base class constructor is executed first, and then the constructor of a derived class is executed. So in this example, because of that, the constructor of beta and alpha is executed first, then the constructor of a derived class gamma is executed, because alpha and beta are the base classes. Let's see another one program that initialize the member variables of both base and derived class using a constructor of a derived class. See this example. In this example, there are two classes M and N. The classes M and N are declared. The class N is derived from the class M. Here the class N is derived from the class M. The constructor of a class N initializes the member variables of the both classes. Hence, it acts as a common constructor of a both base class and derived class. The constructor used in a derived class we also call as a common constructor, because in a derived class there is an common constructor that assigns the value for the both base class and derived class. In a derived class N, here is an N constructor which assigns the value for both base class data members as well as derived class data members. So, while you are going to execute this program, you will get the output as x will get a value 11, y will get a value 22, and z will get the value 33. This is the constructor used in a derived classes. In this lecture, we will see that how the constructors are used in a derived classes. Okay, thank you.